I welcome on stage now Robert Lupițu, Chief Editor at Calea Europeană, the moderator of the Danube Black Sea Economic Opportunities panel.
Good afternoon and thank you very much. It's a pleasure to see you all and an honor to moderate this panel. I hope you all had a very good moment of coffee and you always also solved your Black Friday shopping, and now we can have a very fruitful and energetic exchange on views on this plenary session entitled Danube and Black Sea Economic Opportunities, a new field of economic opportunity and cooperation, and probably a very important strategic consequence of Russia's full-scale invasion in Ukraine, because a few years ago we wouldn't have imagined the possibility of bringing together Romania and countries from the eastern neighborhood in such a very important moment. And now we see how important is the security nexus and also the energy nexus and the transport nexus between the Black Sea and the Danube, and also its economic opportunity. In order to have a very, very fruitful discussion, I invite on stage our distinguished panelists, Mr. Dumitru Alaiba, Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Economic Development and Digitalization in the Republic of Moldova, and also Aspen alumnus. Please, Mr. Alaiba. A big round of applause if it's possible. Thank you. Also, Mr. Florin Marian Spătaru, State Councillor, Government of Romania, former Minister of Romania of Economy in Romania, and also Aspen alumnus. Please, Mr. Minister. We have together with us Mrs. Oana Cristina Popescu, the Ambassador of the European Union to Montenegro. Please. And last but not least, we have together with us online with virtual connection, Mr. Timofey Milovanov, President of the Kyiv School of Economics. Thank you for being with us, and also a big round of applause for you as well. I hope you can hear us. We will start the panel. I have to say from the beginning that we will have a very blitz panel, 35 minutes of exchange and discussions, and I will go with a general question to all the panelists in order to ask you, because our panel is entitled Black Sea Economic Opportunities, but I would also stress a very powerful word, that it's reconstruction, because it's an opportunity to reconstruct Ukraine after the war and also seize the opportunity of our influence in the region when it comes to Romania, but also to other countries in the eastern part of the European Union. And I want to ask you in a 2 minutes intervention of each, please state what are the most important opportunities, but also challenges that we have to think about when it comes to this nexus of the Black Sea and the Danube. Please, Mr. Alaiba, you have the first. It's open, yeah.
It's open? Yeah. Well, good day, and as we will have a very short intervention, well, it's my pleasure to be here. I would call them needs, because the region is in desperate need for investment and reconstruction, and the war has only exacerbated the situation and the needs of the entire region. And as the way we want to regard it and the way we see things is that economy is the best guarantee for the long-term stability of a country. Now, as Ukraine war still rages, for me personally, it is difficult to call opportunity what follows. However, the reality is that there will be investments into Ukraine and into Moldova following this war and following the invasion with the successful with the Ukraine being victorious in this unjust war. And Moldova is definitely going to play a role. Moldova is definitely well, we are already, as was discussed in the previous panels as well, we are already giving all the support for Ukraine that there is through our logistics, through the grain corridors, through solidarity lanes, through cargo going back and forth through our country, because the reality is, if you want to reach right now the most damaged parts of Ukraine, the road lies through Moldova, and in terms of logistics, this is important. What we are doing right now is we are investing in logistics. We are investing in our railroad infrastructure in order to be even more helpful and in order to be even more supportive while the war goes on and once the war is over. The economic consequences of the war on Moldova have been dire. Last year we were beginning the year with very good numbers, but 24th of February 2022 happened and all numbers basically reversed. We ended the year with negative growth. However, we are hopeful to have positive growth this year. For that, we are again investing in infrastructure, investing in logistics, improving our business climate, investing in digitalization and many other endeavors that we have in the government of Moldova, exactly to be ready for when peace and stability and calmness finally comes back to the region, because that is what we need right now the most, all of us in the region. Thank you. I won't take too much of your time because.
Thank you very much indeed. A country with a big heart, Moldova, that wants to improve its way of life and also its democratic future. Mr. Spătaru, as well, further economic opportunities and challenges, considering also the need to develop the routes, the transportation routes in the Black Sea and also between the Black Sea and the Danube, please.
There are almost 2 years time when Europe passed one of the biggest crises we never expected before. And that put together a lot of efforts and a lot of money to support Ukraine. Let's be very clear here. The war in Ukraine should stop. And the Ukrainian nation should decide on themselves how do they want to develop their country. Therefore, the aggression of Russia needs to stop, and Ukraine should benefit from all their territories. After that, we can think on how to reconstruct. But on the other hand, Romania and also Moldova supported Ukraine for the reconstruction already from the first day of the war, because we brought the Ukrainian people, we introduced them in the education, we put efforts to make sure that the life is continuing for the Ukrainian nation. This effort has to continue because Romania and Moldova have 2,300 kilometers of border. So this is the largest border Ukraine is having with two sister countries. What are the opportunities? The opportunities are very much related to the extension of the trading in the Caspian and the Black Sea, and connectivity in terms of energy supply and digital infrastructure, as well as production and proper utilization of the resources. We found out that in the Black Sea area now, there are a lot of possibilities to support not only the ambitions of Europe, but also to support the other countries with proper food, with proper materials, with proper equipment. And this has to continue fulfilling the same principles which has been adopted by the European Union when we had the pandemic, and to reach the objectives of 2050 of decarbonization. No reconstruction should be made without proper steel, with proper aluminum, with proper glass, with proper construction materials. And therefore, the opportunities are laying there. Romania and Moldova should develop and sustain its own business. It's very difficult right now because, you know, we say that we might restrict the accession of those materials which are not respecting the same principles, but we are not very efficient at the European level to do it. And therefore, we have to continue to support those sectors, especially the ones who are consuming a lot of energy and the ones who are very much depending on the raw materials coming from the distance. Romania is also having 9 shipyards. And the water transport is of paramount importance to get the independence. If we are going to work together to put in motion the capability of Romania on building vessels and create the trading routes which is connected many of these Asian countries with Romania and Moldova, and create the routing of the goods on containers or bulk to the west of Europe, that is the way of going forward. Last week or 2 weeks ago, we have been in Brussels together with Minister Alaiba, and we are talking about the global gateway, the way of connecting countries outside the European Union and working together, following the same principles. That's the way forward. That's the way we have to bring the values together and integrate also countries outside of the European Union through the Black Sea in order to make sure that this goal is going to be achieved. Let's do not forget that by 2050 we have to make a greener economy, 90% decarbonization. Let's do not forget that we want to invest a lot in energy, green energy. Where are the solar panels coming from? We should decrease our dependency, and let's do not forget that we should not create our independence by following another dependency. And that, in that sense, Romania and the Republic of Moldova and all the other countries, Georgia, Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, who are following the same principles, we should join forces in order to create in the Black Sea area a pole, an economic pole, which is supporting the ambitions of the European Union. Thank you.
Spot on, thank you. You mentioned Global Gateway. I would also say that Moldova right now is eligible for the Connecting Europe facility, and recently the European Commission also deployed some money for bilateral projects, Romania, the Republic of Moldova, for existing routes and also developing new ones. I would like to move to Mrs. Oana Cristina Popa, the ambassador of the European Union to Montenegro. We are discussing about the Black Sea and Danube economic opportunities, but maybe we can also keep in mind the fact that we have some lessons learned, what the European Union has been doing in the Western Balkans, for instance. And in terms of challenges and opportunities, what can the EU do for this region, considering its lessons learned with the Western Balkans?
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak today on enlargement and cross-regional cooperation. We will come to it in this crucial geopolitical time. So I think it's very important to contextualize and put things in context when it comes to enlargement today. The unprovoked Russian aggression on Ukraine has given a whole new dimension to enlargement. Today, we have 10 countries in the enlargement package. Just 2 weeks ago, the Commission presented the enlargement package, the progress reports for the candidates, but also recommendations to open negotiations with Ukraine, Moldova, Georgia when the time is right, and Bosnia pending on certain reforms. This is a huge leap forward with enlargement back in the priorities of the European Union after a dormant, let's say, decade when Europe was more preoccupied with digesting the previous wave of enlargement. Also, alongside the enlargement package came the new growth plan for the Western Balkans, which was launched by President von der Leyen. And this is very important because this gives the economic dimension. The enlargement package, as it stands right now, is of course merit-based. The regatta principle stands. Countries have to fulfill the requirements of the acquis. But in addition to that, we have come to the realization that it's extremely important to prepare those countries for joining the single market. And the growth plan proposes exactly that, to give them the tools to prepare their own internal markets, and in the case of the Western Balkans, build the common regional market, because the Western Balkans are comprised by small countries which cannot survive individually, so they have to work together. In order to prepare them for accession to the single market. So this will go in parallel with the accession reform agenda, which of course has the rule of law at its core, alignment with the common foreign and security policy, but now this economic dimension is extremely important. Now, what is also extremely important is that the momentum that Ukraine created, where basically Ukraine is pushing all this group from the back, the door is now open, but the countries have to walk through the door, so to speak. So they have to do their part of the work in order to access the money that is brought about by the growth plan. Also, it is important to build a connection between the Eastern neighborhood and the Western Balkans, with the Danube being the connecting part. The Black Sea and the Adriatic Sea have already been discussed together as part of the Three Seas Initiative, but this is nothing new. 20 years ago, we were looking at ways to connect the Black Sea and the Adriatic Sea. There are several ports on those two seas that can serve as the backbone for building connectivity on the sea, but also it is very important to build this connectivity on land, on rail. Digital and green transition, again, need to happen uniformly, because this is too big to be the prerogative of one country or another. This is a regional approach and a cross-regional approach. And from that point of view, I cannot stress enough that having a bigger enlargement package is actually good for enlargement, because it gives that impetus needed to push the process forward and to make the accession real and foreseeable in a palpable future. So I'm going to stop here, and there are a couple of other ideas that we can elaborate in the second round, or when we get questions from the public. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. Now we move online to Mr. Timofey Milovanov, the president of the Kyiv School of Economics in Ukraine. So we are very much eager to see the view of Ukraine when it comes to the economic opportunities within the Black Sea and the Danube, also considering the fact that Romania is of paramount importance for two-thirds of Ukraine grains export and transit to the worldwide markets. And we are very much keen to know what are the challenges and opportunities that Ukraine sees ahead from this point of view. Please.
Thank you very much. Indeed, Romania, but the Black Sea region, North and Western Black Sea region are key for Ukraine, for food security in the region. And so the challenges and opportunities are identical. The first challenge and opportunity is security. Russia attacks infrastructure, destroys it. It now targets civilian ships and ports. And proper air defense in the region is going to be a must during this war and post-war, to ensure that the risks are low or minimized. So some version of closing the sky over the region is paramount. The second one is infrastructure. Building new infrastructure, investing in infrastructure, recovering infrastructure will provide amazing opportunities for economic development in the region. this is the source of logistics, the place for logistics. But I also worry that the approach that many of the countries have been taking, including Ukraine and neighbors, is not fully exploiting the opportunities for joint value creation. For example, there could be a transnational or transborder infrastructure investment fund. There could be some joint private equity. Creating incentives that aligned within joint projects, I think, is the way to unlock these opportunities and overcome the challenges. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Yes, you stressed quite interesting the fact that the security situation is both a challenge and an opportunity for us to better develop. And yeah, probably the regional cooperation is, as I mentioned, a very important consequence of Russia's war against Ukraine, because now we managed to build trust among our nations and our common interests. I would like to open the floor for questions. We have a point of microphone over there, so everyone who wants to ask a question should go at that point of the microphone. Firstly, raise their hand, and then go over there, do a sprint, or if we do not have a question at this precise moment, but I encourage you to do that, I will have a question that maybe can relate to both Mr. Alaiba and Mr. Spătaru. And can you provide examples of infrastructure projects in the Danube Black Sea regions that have been developed or that you plan to develop, or also existing projects that need to be further expanded to enhance these economic opportunities despite the ongoing conflict that Russia has caused in Ukraine? Who wants to go first? Mr. Alaiba, or maybe Mr. Spătaru, yes.
Yes. First of all, now you see that there is this priority on connecting the eastern part of Romania with, let's say, with Constanța area and with Bucharest. A7 and A8, they are already in the master plan and they will make the connection. This highway is also going to attract trading from Ukraine and Moldova. Second, we also have a development program on the electrification of the railway. Railway should also play a role in container trading and connect the containers from one hub, from a container hub from the eastern part of Romania, bringing to Constanța, and then from Constanța to be placed in either in Western Europe or to go in outside of the Black Sea and in the other areas. There is this intermodal project in Galați, which has been already allocated 170 million lei, which are going to be invested in the coming future, also together with the European funds, and that will make also the connectivity of Ukraine through Moldova and Galați and Braila area in order to develop the container projects. That would mean that we'll restart to use the biggest highway of Romania. We forgot to do that, and that's Danube. And on the Danube side, we can. There are also discussions together with the Ministry of Transport. It will be water transport strategy, which is going to be developed, which would involve the development of the harbors, multimodal hubs, and will use these capacities in order to attract cargo and also move cargo in the other areas.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Aleba?
Thank you. I would start with saying that it's been 30 years that we unfortunately mostly ignored logistics. And nowadays, well, before the war, our logistics infrastructure was barely supporting the needs of the Moldovan economy. And with the increased pressure of the Ukraine transit, again, to support Ukraine, we have to all make our contribution and chip in these times. However, it's taking a toll on our logistics infrastructure, and that is going to be and already is a major priority for the government, for Moldova. And here, the opportunities are huge, because if we look at the map, as I said, Moldova is an inevitable transit point. And logistics, again, is about speed, it's about waiting time, minimum waiting time, maximum speed. That would drive costs down, and at some point it's about the euro per kilometer per minute, and that is what makes commercial and business sense to use a country as a platform for transit, for example, for moving cargo. 10% of the Ukrainian grains, over 10%, that's at least what we have in our estimates, is going through the port of Giurgiulești. And that is, Ukraine is big, and the production is massive. Here I mean 300 meters on the Danube. This is how big the entire infrastructure is. Now, even there, by investing in another perch, by putting in place faster, bigger equipment, more efficient, we can support Ukraine much more, and we can support the regional economy much more. Railroads. There are portions in Moldova of railroad where the speed has to be 5-10 kilometers per hour because of poor infrastructure. That's the reality. That's what we have to fix urgently, because again, it's about the cost per kilometer per minute. That's what makes up efficiency in the end. And if we look at the map again, we are the transit point for most of rail cargo that is to be shipped from and to Ukraine. The line enters Moldova and then bifurcates to the north and to the south. And the port of Constanța is right here to the south from Ungheni. And that means, again, having substantial investment into logistics by using the PPP models or any other model of cooperating with private in order to involve private investments, in order to streamline processes and to make this changing of gauge, for example, because again, it's about time. It's about how much it takes you to ship one container from Constanța, for example, to Odessa or further. And if that one container has to wait for 4 hours until you change the gauge, which is the reality right now, that will translate into pressure for the goods that you shipped, and that would increase the price of your operations. And now it can take 4 hours, which is more or less the time that it takes right now, or it can take 20 minutes, which is possible in other dry ports that you have in Slovakia, for example, in Serbia and whatnot. So that is the general, and that's only transport logistics. We are looking at the digital infrastructure. We're looking at business support infrastructure and many others in order to increase the regional capacity of the logistics infrastructure to support a massive pressure at its core in essence. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We have a question over there, I guess.
Hello.
Oh, and also over there, yeah, Rufin. But yeah, Mr. Pogonaro first, and then Rufin will take both questions. Thank you.
It's a comment first and also a question. It's a question, it's a comment on the mindsets which we have about Ukraine, Moldova, and what is happening. First of all, I start by saying that whatever I'm saying should be interpreted in the sense that we want victory of Ukraine. No question about this. Let's do all the efforts for this. But let's accept also that we have to have two kinds of mindset. I am a businessman which is exporting at this moment in Ukraine, has connection with Moldova. So I have normal life is happening in Ukraine. I mean, I can tell you, do you know that there are retailers in Ukraine, they hate plastics, and there are retailers which are importing at this moment green bags, biodegradable bags, avoiding to spoil the country with plastic. This is a thing which is happening. People are living, are normal. And we as business people, we have to build connection and trust between us, leaving apart the war. We don't know, we want victory tomorrow, but we don't know how long this will last. We don't have even more with, in the context of accession. And I was involved in many years ago, by the way, meeting with Ukrainian businessmen in order to show best Romanian practice in the accession process and prepare the future normality. So there are things which, I mean, let's have the war economy, but let's discuss much more about the normal economy. Let's discuss, for example, how we are starting in Romania to apply digitalization, franchises like European computer driving license, teaching the public servants what they have to know as far as digitalization is concerned. Let's extend and discuss about the green economy, biodegradable, and so on. This is happening. So I think it's very important to be very focused on the war economy, but at this, don't forget that normal life is still happening. Business should happen, and you have to focus more
question goes first and foremost to the Ambassador Popa, but I would also like to hear perhaps Mr. Alaiba, and if the Ukrainian professor is still with us, perhaps he has to offer a perspective on the question also. So, Your Excellency, you've mentioned the efforts, and then I have to salute the European efforts in bringing Moldova and Ukraine closer to a European family. Of course, all of us know that it's not sufficient, this. You need to learn to sell the successes. You need to learn to communicate on the successes. And I was wondering, how, from a strategic communication point of view, how can we, the European Union members, should advocate for the decision that was taken a couple of days ago in Brussels regarding the Republic of Moldova and Ukraine? And I have in mind mainly how can we sell, quote unquote, this success to those parts of these two countries that are not too keen in moving towards or closer to a Western type of democracy. Thank you.
Thank you. Please, Mrs. Popa, then we'll go to Mr. Milanov, and maybe a small comment from you, Mr. Alaiba. Please.
Thank you for your question. So first of all, let me tell you that enlargement has become a geopolitical necessity, and that is the main difference from what enlargement looked before the Russian aggression on Ukraine. And there are, of course, member states, 27 member states with different opinions, but what they all understand equally is that enlargement has become a geopolitical necessity. Now, how we'll translate that into practice? Like I said, it will take time. It is still a merit-based process, but it is important to start working because at this point, the process of preparing for the EU is equally important with the actual date of accession. I know that that is the main preoccupation of candidate countries, but the process is very important at this point. Also, let us not forget geography, because geography is extremely important. If we look at the Eastern neighborhood and the Western Balkans, the Western Balkans are surrounded by EU and NATO member countries, so that should definitely give a boost, but it's also in the direct interest of those countries to have the countries in. And it's even more important when it comes to Ukraine and Moldova, because that is the sort of final frontier. And if you know, there's nowhere else for them to go. They have to be in Europe. They are in Europe. They have always been in Europe, and it's a geopolitical necessity to be in Europe because otherwise the alternative doesn't simply exist.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Mr. Milovanov, sorry. He is still together with us? No, I don't think so. Mr. Aleba, if you want to have a small comment on that, maybe, and then Mrs. Potaru.
About how we can best sell our successes, my personal opinion is that actions speak for themselves. So the more work we do together, because what we need first and foremost is support in all the multiple reforms that we are undertaking. And it's already a reality that we have shortened this period from becoming a candidate country to the recommendation of the Commission. We're hoping to move even faster in the future, but that means a lot of activity, a lot of reforms, a lot of action that partly will speak for themselves. It will be much easier to sell a story when a country is moving fast towards a clear goal with clear results and with successful and quality reforms, not reforms that are done on paper just to tick the boxes and to report to Brussels about something that will never work. We have seen this in the past. Only a couple of years ago, this is the quality of the reforms that we were criticizing while, being in the opposition, while being on the streets, basically. And this is a bad example of a country doing the reforms just to tick a box and to hope nobody will notice. So our approach is to do true reforms that will work in reality, that will change people's life and do them fast. And that is a much easier sell of a success in any capital.
Thank you very much. Since we are on extra time, 15 seconds, please,
Yes.
Mr. Futar.
These countries who are going to access into the European Union, they will have access to the biggest treasure of European Union, which is the single market. Standardization, the same rules, the access of the products into that will bring a lot of economy, which will mean jobs, which will mean higher added value, and that is something which needs to be sold because European Union is having one big treasure. That is the single market. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And in order to conclude in a very hopeful manner, I would like you to complete the following sentence. By 2030, the Danube and Black Sea region will be?
Well, EU and NATO lake, you could say, almost.
Okay.
Just like the Baltics.
A very strong pillar into the single market of Europe.
Part of the most important connection in Europe.
Well, thank you very much for the panelists and for all of you being together with us. We will have now a technical break before the next panel. Thank you very much.